Hello, everybody. This is Chris Love of the Chris Love Show. This is my second episode, and hopefully, you watched my first episode titled "The Fight for Representation." Um, and also, please like, subscribe, and share. And the main reason why I started the podcast because I live in North Alabama. Of course, Alabama is a solid red state, but also believe that there can be other voices that speak for the other roughly 45% of people who are not Republicans, and that's Democrats and independents. And I am happy to invite my good friend, Jeremy Devito. Jeremy, however long I do this podcast for, I want you to know that you are my first person to come on for an interview, and I wanted to give you that honor. And I thank you for coming on, and also happy belated anniversary.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yep. So, Jeremy, we're gonna kick things off, and I always tell everybody this story. I said, me and Jeremy, we walked in our first Limestone County meeting, and we never met before. And we just happened to sit next to each other. And the one thing you came in, I believe you was wearing your Afghanistan hat because you're an Afghanistan veteran, and you just happened to sit next to me. And I looked at you, and I said, you know what, this is a guy I could work with. And then then I found out that that was your first time coming to the Limestone County meeting, and we kind of came in towards the latter end of 2024 for the election of for the election of Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. Of course, we were greatly disappointed because Kamala Harris lost, and I think the country since that time has realized the big mistake is made. And fast forward probably a few months later, and I remember, I can't remember, it was a Monday, Tuesday. I remember it's the early part of the week, and I'm getting ready to go to work, get my clothes on. I hear a ping on my phone. I see your name pop up. Oh, okay, cool. We'll see what Jeremy's talking about here. And your text message was pretty much, I'm running for Congress. And I text something which I probably can't say on this podcast because I try to keep it family friendly. Like, what the, you know what? Because I was just totally surprised. So, Jeremy, kick it from there, man. What made you run?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything you said up to this point is exactly how I remember it. I think you had like when we went to that first meeting, you know, I think you and I were both searching for the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think we both saw the writing on the wall, like,
yeah,
we got to do something. And there were a lot of people at that meeting thinking the same thing,
yeah.
if I remember correctly. Like, we can't let this happen again. We're going to do whatever we can
Mm-hmm.
to stop it. You know, hey, unsuccessful, whatever. We know that there's more to it than just one election. There's more to it than just one vote, right? So
Yeah.
uh, that's kind of what was going through my head. That meeting was the beginning of this particular journey for me and for you. I mean, look at where you are now.
Yeah. And
Um,
one thing, Jeremy, we're both first timers in this. But and I say it then, I say it now, I'll say it in November of 2026. Alabama need frontline soldiers like me and you, buddy,
yeah,
because we're
and I
not just talking, we're doing. We're doing what we can.
exactly.
Yeah.
What went through my mind was the same thing that went through my mind when that was the first ever Democratic Party meeting that I'd ever been to in my entire life. I've
Yeah.
been voting,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to say or tell you that I voted in every single midterm election before then, and I voted in every presidential election that I
Yeah.
can remember.
Same as
I
me.
think I was deployed maybe one or two times. Well, I've only deployed three times, but I think there was a deployment in between. I don't know. I'm not going to go through this whole voting thing, but um, yeah, I mean, I realized at that point that what really drove me was January 6th.
Mhm.
January 6th insurrection was what drove me to do something.
Yeah.
And I was watching what was happening with Kamala Harris's campaign, and I felt uneasy. But
Mhm.
I also realized what I think you and I both realized is there a Democratic Party in Alabama?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And you know,
I had to Google search it to know where they meet at. It's like a secret cabal. Yeah.
oh right, no, it really was. It was.
Yeah.
There's reasons of which we could get into, which it'll take longer than this podcast. But
Hmm.
what we found out together was yes, there is a Democratic Party, and there are people in the community who really are like-minded, who have been keepers of the flame, and
Yeah.
that were happy to have that. And what went into my decision to run for Congress was the same as it's always been: January 6th,
Hmm.
insurrection,
Yeah.
the rise of fascism and authoritarianism, and my oath to the Constitution.
Hmm.
Um, I felt like running for Congress was the best way for me to fulfill that oath.
Yeah.
Um, Winning would have been great, but unfortunately, you don't always win when you
Yeah.
do things like that. I knew that when I started. I put my heart and soul into that campaign.
Hmm.
I put my heart and soul into everything that I do. It's passion. It's there. Uh, but what we've realized is people are listening and they are paying attention very closely to what you and I are doing,
Hmm.
very closely.
Yeah.
Um, More or less a sleeping giant. And there's a battle. I hate these stupid phrases, a battle for the soul of our nation, but maybe a battle for the soul of the Democratic Party
Yeah.
in Alabama.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But that's kind of how I always just felt like my duty,
Hmm.
my value to this country, to my obligation to this Constitution, to you as a fellow veteran, to my wife, to my family, was always to be the best version of that oath keeper. And that was to go and inspire people to run for Congress,
Yeah.
inspire them to be a better version of the Democratic Party. We're
Yeah.
not there yet. It's not only my vision. I understand how democracy works.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's why people were expecting me to like get all shy. Like veterans, and especially progressive ones, we're not punks.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can take a hit and
Yeah.
get back up, right? Like this is not the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. I remember.
Uh,
I think we both used the phrase. At least I do. Uh, I, it's time for Democrats to come out the closet in Alabama,
mm,
because I've lived in Alabama since I got out the active army in '96, and like you said, Jeremy, just like you, man, I'm just trying to raise my family. I voted in presidential elections every 4 years. I did that for sure, because I realized the sacrifice my parents and grandparents made to ensure that I'm able to walk into school without being told no, or able to vote without being stopped. So I at
mm,
least voted every 4 years. I kept up with news and things going on, but outside of that, I kind of like, well, that's politics and yada 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 yada. And as you get older, you start realizing, you want to leave something behind for your kids and your grandkids.
yeah.
Yeah.
My,
And Jeremy, I remember you were the first one to really announce and started running.
mm,
And then I believe after that, Dr. Candace Duviel was next. And then towards the latter end of the year, it was Andrew Sneed. So, Jeremy, go over, okay, you decide to run, and now you're running. So go over, that process.
okay, so I'll go over it from two different perspectives.
Uh
One
huh.
perspective is just from a newcomer,
Yeah.
but also I like to put it in the context of the constitutional crisis, the rise
Hmm.
of the far right, and the gaslighting that we have in this country, right?
Yeah.
Like, and as an Alabaman, right, in a red state, quote unquote,
Hmm.
red state. But also, what I noticed across the country, because I went to DC, I got involved in other candidates' races. I connected with a lot of first-time candidates, a lot of first-time candidate veterans, a lot of young candidates. Technically, I'm not a young candidate. I'm 42. I think, depending on who you ask, it's 40 or younger.
Hmm.
But I'm a millennial, so I always kind of looked at that age group, the millennial candidate, as kind of unique, because there's
Hmm.
not a lot of millennial representation. And a lot of first time candidates were millennials this year. And, I don't know where the chips are going to fall on how many actually succeed, but a lot of the millennial candidates, a lot of the candidates who are popular in Congress and the Democratic Party are millennials,
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so that process in Alabama is actually pretty easy compared to the other candidates that I know, some people have to caucus and they have to get votes within their party, in addition to paying fees and things like that. So it becomes very political.
Yeah.
But that's also a sort of vetting process.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that here as much, right? Like pretty much anybody can stand up and say, I'm a Democrat. I think there might be some voting stipulations there that they have to look at your voting record maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't worry about that because I knew I'd always voted Democrat.
Yeah.
I just looked at the value of what it was, and I was like $3,500 or something like that, $3,600. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
So that was literally the process to register to be a candidate.
Yeah.
Other than that, my approach was going to be authentic. And so I wanted, because we did not have a candidate on the ballot last time.
In 2024, we had zero.
We had zero candidates in this particular race. And so I also operate under the guise or the assumption or the idea that, you know, our voting base is intelligent enough to know that you don't need to gas them up and like sell them on who you are. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, I didn't have the advantages of growing up here. So I needed to build trust quickly.
Yeah.
And so the only way that you can build trust quickly is be your authentic self. Now, if I had lived here my entire life and I knew everybody, I could approach it a lot differently.
Yeah.
And so I made the clear
So
decision.
where are you from originally, Jeremy?
Clarksville, Tennessee, home of the 101st Airborne. Military family. My dad was in the Army. His dad was in the Army. My mom's dad was in the Army. My stepdad was in the Army. I don't know if you see a trend here. I was in the Army. I tend to hang out with people who are in the Army.
My brother, my sister, they served in the Army. My brother retired, but he stayed 20 years active duty. But none of my kids went into the military.
And my sister retired from the Air Force.
Okay, nice.
Her husband was in the Army. My brother-in-law. So military family through and through. When I say I know veterans issues, I know them like the back of my hand. I have been politically active for as long as I can remember in different ways. Like I just consume the information. And then what has changed in my life over the years is how I apply that, how I look at the world around me and see the results of that policy through time. And I think that's where candidates and politically active people in leadership differ from the average person. And really just, we've lost that bridge, you know, that connection there, whether it be apathy or, I understand why it happens, especially in Alabama.
Yeah.
I understand. That's the battle that we're fighting. It's not right versus left as much as it is top versus bottom, the haves versus have-nots, the power versus the people. That's really what the issue is here.
And one thing I noticed about you, Jeremy, you really took social media by storm.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody could go to his Facebook page and scroll from the beginning. You said things that Democrat wants to say, but they can't.
Yeah.
You weren't afraid to let people know how you felt on different views, whether it was about race, it was about LGBT issues, or all the stuff that's going on in the world. One thing I really liked about you, I enjoyed following you, of course, as the chair of Limestone County Democrats. You know, all Democrat candidates, I made sure that I reposted their stuff because I wanted Democrats in Limestone County to get a broad view of the candidates running, and for the voters, of course, to make their decisions. But I mean, man, you went to Washington, D.C. I mean, and, you know, of course, you know, I appear on a conservative radio show weekly, and you defined yourself as that firebrand, as that progressive, as somebody as I'm not going to hold back. Democrats, we're Americans too, and I'm not ashamed to say it. And that really resonated with a lot of people because your followers, man, were just skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is social media is an important tool,
Hmm.
and Democrats cannot figure out how to use it correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Why do you think I'm doing this podcast, Jeremy? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, I'm not the best, but doggone, I don't see nobody else doing it. So hey,
it
why
don't
not
matter.
me?
I'm
Yeah.
not the best either. I'm
Yeah.
not a social media influencer.
Yeah.
I'm a guy with a phone who has a very specific
I had to
niche
bribe my
here.
wife a steak dinner just to subscribe to my podcast.
I mean, look,
Please.
we all have to make sacrifices,
There you
right?
go. Hey, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. So social media is important, and Democrats ignored it for a long time. I did too,
Yeah.
because it can kill you, like
Yeah.
mentally, right? Like if you get sucked into it, and I'm not
Yeah.
different. The first thing we have to understand as people is you're all vulnerable to propaganda.
Hmm.
I'm vulnerable to it. You're vulnerable to it. I've fallen for it. Everybody falls for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because you're on social media does not mean everything is propaganda, but doesn't mean that you can identify propaganda. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying here is, um, I'm trained in it, right? I literally that was my job in the army.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I can use this tool. It's a communication tool. That is what it
Yeah.
is. And in a world where people act like they don't, the biggest lie that they tell, like people tell you is, oh, I don't read news. I don't do politics. Well, crap, man. You pick that phone up and you open Facebook. Literally everything in
Yep.
your feed is
Yep.
politics, whether you believe it or not.
In Germany, we discussed this. I remember a time where I was, junior high school, but I remember picking up a newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
newspaper, and reading it, or get your news from either NBC, CBS, or ABC. And then in the late '80s, Fox came on.
Yeah.
But now, and we discuss it, and Democrats throughout the country got to realize young people nowadays, the teens and the 20s and the 30s, even the 40s and the 50s, they live on their phone. They get their news from TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, Blue Sky,
Mm-hmm.
Reddit, Substack. I remember people coming into our meetings, Jeremy, and, oh, are you guys on Substack? And I'm like, what's Substack? Oh, we need
Yeah.
to
I
get
mean,
Substack. Yeah.
well, so like we again another class on this, but what I'll say is, okay, yeah, every social media has its own core audience,
Yeah.
but how many people are voting based off of that social
Yeah.
media? And so, like I was talking to Ricky yesterday, I stopped by
Okay.
the office and dropped some stuff off, and I said, Ricky, what do you look at? He said Facebook. I was like, you know who votes? People your age. I
Yeah.
said, what do they look at? They look at Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So post on Facebook and post daily. You
Yeah.
know, you can do written video, 30-second videos, and
Mm-hmm.
say it has to be a strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like 30-second video here, and then go to my YouTube for the full content. You
Mm-hmm.
have to keep evolving. It is a strategy.
Yeah.
It's a tool. Use it and don't be afraid. And you were talking about my brand as a firebrand, and it feels that way because I'm passionate and I'm
Mm-hmm.
so direct, and I have to be that way. I was thinking
Yeah.
about this
And
when
I
I
say
went to.
firebrand as compared to the other two people
Right, right.
that were running. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this on my way to pick up the cheese dip and salsa that we had for dinner tonight, and
Mm-hmm.
I want people to be more comfortable with the extremism that they already are comfortable with in
Yeah.
their daily lives. I
Mm-hmm.
am being the opposite on purpose. But if you break it down, you've already accepted the extremism of far right in
Mm-hmm.
your daily life. People on the left, quote unquote, Democrats who voted for, moderation have already accepted extremism.
Yeah.
So when I come out as the firebrand, I'm painting that dichotomy. Yeah, hate me. Go ahead. Hate me. Say I'm uncouth. Say I'm
Mm-hmm.
uncultured. I can put on a tie and I can hobnob and I can play the role of a cultured person very well. I can, but I choose not to
Yeah.
because I need people to understand as any language that is possible. You can call me the MAGA of the far left if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I need you to understand what's going on. And some people will shut their minds off to that. I understand that too. But my theory has always been The Overton window has shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is a very provable that we have gone so far right that if you say you are in favor of compromise, you
Mm-hmm.
are now center right. That is you are now center right because we have gone so far right as a country.
Yeah.
You are now a center right.
Mm-hmm.
If you zoom out, and that's hard for people who've lived here for 40 something years to understand,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if you've been to New York and Boston and come back here, it's hard for people to understand that. And I just thought it's just too imperative. I think what's going to happen is I'm afraid. I don't know what's going to happen. I have to say that. Like
Okay.
I always know that I don't know what's going to happen.
You mean you don't know what's going to happen in
In
November
November.
2026? Okay.
Yeah, in
All right.
November.
Yeah.
Like I'm referencing all of this based on my run to stop an authoritarian takeover of our elections because the last tenet of fascism to fall that I think we haven't quite seen yet is the free and fair elections.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I know we've got roadblocks and obstacles and things being placed in front of that adversity that has to be overcome.
Yeah.
And you could say that maybe the 2024 election was stolen. You could say that. And I know that there's reason to suspect that. But the actual overt signs are very clear that they would like to legitimately intimidate people with ICE and other means. And they've even talked about recently suspending the Constitution.
Yeah. I remember when ICE first started, and I was having a conversation with somebody, and and a lot of times Republicans try to paint Democrats as that we're against law enforcement, we're against order. I'm a correction officer. I've been a correction officer for 22 years.
Yeah.
We're both veterans.
Yeah.
We swore oath to this country and this Constitution, and even though we're not wearing a uniform, don't mean that oath ended.
Right.
But I remember telling somebody, I said, "Well, hey, I'm all for law and order. I'm all for everybody living in safe neighborhoods and everybody getting along. But it's kind of funny how you're sending ICE into cities that's majority black, but because there's only crime in areas that have majority black population. Come on now."
Wow. I mean, hey, if it's about law and order, then they wouldn't be overriding the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
If it's about law and order, then the people at the top have got to be held accountable to the crimes that they have committed.
Because we forget that laws apply to everybody equally, regardless of race or wealth.
They're currently breaking our law that Congress passed by not releasing the Epstein file.
Mm-hmm.
They're breaking the law, felony, no accountability. Mm-hmm. So what is stopping them? So again, that's my goal, is to prevent that, to keep my oath. And I do think, you hear my dog barking?
Once or twice.
Sorry. I have to wear these headphones.
He wants to get on the interview too.
Yeah. But I have to, I will serve the people. I'm absolutely a servant of
And that's
the
really the question I got for you, Jeremy. What's next for you?
Yeah, so what I really want to do is I want to write a book about this.
Okay.
And what my book will be about is my experience running, the people I've met along the way. It'll be somewhat of a memoir, but it's not going to be focused on me. Yeah. It'll be focused on the people that I met, my experiences.
The experience, yeah.
But like, I always want to push the conversation farther and more urgently. Mm-hmm. So just like my social media conversations, it's more like a daily journal, Yeah. Those are my thoughts, and it's a conversation. You notice I run that. I jump in there and I talk.
Yeah.
And I will talk to MAGA folks until they cross the line, and I shut them down. So yeah, I want to write a book. Run again. I mean, I can't make that decision right now.
Yeah,
it was a lot of hard work. And,
and Jeremy, I know you. Audience don't realize I know you very well. Yeah. And I seen the trial and tribulation. I salute you, sir. You know, and
I
your
would.
family. It's not only you running, but it's sacrificing for your family and friends as well. So kudos to your wife and kids.
I will say this: I would do it, but the money is more important the next time around
Yeah.
because I can't work a full time job and support a family and run and win a seat in Congress
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like I would need to support and have those things laid out. And I can't reach the people. The way that
Mm-hmm.
I would want to run the next campaign, I would like to be doing town halls scheduled
Yeah. Yeah.
regularly, whether people show up or not in their communities. And those things cost money, you
Yeah.
know. You got to be able to rent that space. You got to find that space.
Yeah.
Like people don't always want political events in their towns.
And I remember
Uh,
watching one of your videos, and I agree. And you said, "Man, the hardest thing is asking for money from people that's struggling, trying to make ends meet." But these town halls, these yard signs. Last time I checked, they ain't free.
I
Yeah.
would just, I just want to make, so whoever watches this video, if you want me to run again and you got deep pockets
Mm-hmm.
and you want to back a grassroots movement, hit me up, jeremy.devito@gmail.com. Let's have a conversation. It's 2 years from now, right? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen in November. Or if you want to build a grassroots network here, a real progressive network, hit me up. I mean, that's what I'm here. That's what I'm trying to do ultimately. But like, I think this book is going to be a really good thing for me. I don't know. I've got a friend of mine who's really he's just really good about that stuff, and I'm really
Okay.
excited about that part of it because it's going to get a lot of this in my mind out, and I think it will be very helpful for what we're trying to build here.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jeremy. I think we got one more minute on the Zoom call. So,
Oh yeah.
final question is, like I said, you're my first interview, so I'm still trying to figure this out here. I've been on Zoom meetings, but never really hosted one. So, in the end, Andrew Sneed won the nomination for the Democratic side. Uh, you've been very vocal about Andrew Sneed. Do you endorse him? Do you have some reservations?
Mhm.
What you got?
Yeah, I back Andrew Sneed. Vote. You have to vote. Civic responsibility. If you vote, we can get Dale Strong out. The goal is to get rid of people who back Donald Trump, who is an oath breaker. He's a convicted felon. So you need somebody like Andrew Sneed. I don't know how Andrew's going to behave. I
Mm-hmm.
always have. My goal was to be a true Democrat all the way as far left as we could go because
Yeah,
of the Overton window.
yeah,
So I kept moving to the people who I thought were aligned with me.
yeah,
Andrew isn't, but he is a Democrat, and he is farther left than Dale Strong by a long shot.
yeah.
So I will back him. I endorse him as much as he can be endorsed. He doesn't seek my endorsement. He does not need it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be in his ear about some certain things, and I will hold him accountable.
Yeah,
But Dale Strong is not the guy. He
yeah,
will use race baiting and dog whistles, and he will attack trans people. He
yeah.
will attract black people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to be good for us.
Yeah. And I just feel
It's clear.
I just feel no matter whether you're a Democrat person in elected office or a Republican person in elected office, part of your job, part of your happy privilege is able to meet with the people on a regular basis and meet with the people. It don't mean that everybody's going to agree with you, but give an ear to listen to the people's concerns because that's really your job to represent the people, not represent the party or the president. And that's I'm hoping Andrew will do that. I have conversations with Andrew and I say, hey, we need somebody who's going to represent the people, not the
Yeah, I think.
party, not the president, but and meet with the people.
Yeah. Now, I want somebody who will go in there and vote for impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he'll do that stuff, but I do have faith that he's got a good conscience on him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bare minimum that we can expect. You put him versus Dale, they stack up. Like, no,
Uh-huh.
absolutely not. For all the reasons that you could list.
Yeah.
Like representation, the bare minimum, have town halls.
Mm-hmm.
Be brave enough to sit in front of your constituents.
Yeah.
And Andrew can do that.
Mm-hmm.
He can take heat from me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Jeremy, man, it was great having you on. And also, a side note, one of the things I really enjoyed was the, let's call it, battle between you and Dale Jackson. We're not talking about Dale Strong now. We're talking about Dale Jackson. Kind of wrap up with that. How did you meet him? How did everything start with this?
Oh, he came to our town hall that we threw, Chris, out in
Back
Athens.
in March of 2025.
And
Yeah.
and Bugsy came in and was like, "Hey, I run a radio station.
Yeah.
You want to come on?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And I called in that next day, and I was like, "Oh, Dale Jackson show. Didn't know this was a conservative radio show." And he
Yeah.
asked me if AOC was a fascist, and I was like, "I guess anybody can have fascist tendencies.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't make you a fascist." You can go back and listen to the recording. I was kind of confused, and it was like 9 o'clock, and I didn't know what was going on. The next time, though, I came back on his show, and he kicked me off because I dunked on him.
Yeah.
And now I'm not allowed back on his show.
Yeah.
So when I'm prepared and I know who I'm going up against, it's a little
Yeah.
different. But yeah, I've learned so much since then. Like,
Yeah.
it's much more fun. I'm never trying to be a jerk, but I have boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't tolerate. Like, one thing is, I really need white people to understand this, especially white men, is you cannot just let people go around unchecked talking about the blacks.
Yeah.
Send another black.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like, white people, stop putting work on black people to check that. It's
Yeah.
not their job to stop racism.
Mm-hmm.
We perpetuate it. We have to hold each other accountable. That's the message I was trying to send to him, but he got his feelings hurt.
Yeah.
And
one thing I realized, you're not going to win a battle when you insult somebody. I guess I'm used to Dale Jackson, but when you hear that comment about send the blacks, to some people, it's very offensive.
Yeah. He said send another black, and I was like, bro,
yeah,
what? Send another black, like, they're just disposable for me.
Yeah.
And I know it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I listened to another story the other day of another black gentleman who was like at a dinner table with his white friend, and he had his older white family there. And he said, his friend was saying, "Look, I grew up in a really racist era, and I've done some really messed up things." He's like, "Yeah, bro, I understand." He's unpacking a lot of stuff. Then he went to his dinner, and his grandma was like, "We had a N-word that came around and helped us all the time," in front of his black friend. And he was like, "Oh, really?" And the black guy was like, "Tell me more." And she just kept dropping the hard R.
Yeah.
And his white friend was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And he was like, "No, they need to say these things, and you need to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
You need to have these conversations." So that's what I do.
Yeah.
I do that. I stop it in the middle. And people just, he got stuck. He was like, what, And, you would ask me a question maybe once or twice, or somebody had of, will white people ever vote for, will white people vote for a black person?
Black candidate.
Yeah.
That's my
sorry.
podcast.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, thanks for advertising that. I appreciate that. I need all the help I can get.
Please tune in to that next podcast because that's going to be a great conversation.
That's like I said, just like what you did, Jeremy. I'm gonna, when you look at my pack, I'm gonna have those titles that's gonna go pow, because we need to have open conversations.
Hook them and have open conversation, because that ties in directly to what Dale Jackson was trying to deny.
Yeah,
that ties in directly to the Voting Rights Act, because white people clearly do not vote for black candidates here.
Yeah. And I've voted, for me, I voted for white candidates before. Yeah. And and I know, and the Supreme Court said that you don't need Section 2 because congressional map should be based on race. That's a great statement to make. But guess what? Just like can a white person vote for a black candidate knowing he's the best person, or will they not vote him simply because he's black? If the answer is the best person who's running is black, does not get elected, then you need to bring back Section 2, because we're not there yet. Yeah. I want to be there. Yeah. But we're not there yet. I'm a realist.
Yeah. So, and we're not there yet because they went and redistrict all those black districts out immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. If they had that way, they would go 7-0. But they know, well, we only go 6-1 for 2028. Yeah, I know, they're going to go 7-0.
It's slow. They can't do it all at once.
Yeah.
Didn't know that people would be pissed. They're already pissed. I'm sorry, PO'd.
I know you can say pissed.
Okay. Look, that stuff really bugs me, man. I know it really bugs me. It
Yeah.
really does.
Well,
So
Jeremy, man, like I said, I consider you a good friend.
thanks.
I'm inspired by you.
Thanks.
You did the damn thing, man.
And you're
And
doing
what
it
you
too.
did, you inspired a lot of people, man. So congratulations, thank you, and we need soldiers on the front lines like you, man. Stay in the
Let's keep
fight,
rolling. Let's
and
do
I'll
it,
be
brother.
there with you in the trenches.
Let's go.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. You have a
Cool.
blessed day.
You too.
All right.